How's it going, super fans? Welcome to the next episode on Sterling on Cinemas. That's Cinemas with an S. And today I'll be giving you my review on the one and only Incredibles 2. Before I begin, if you are new to this playlist or to this video or to this channel, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment on the section below. And most importantly, click that bell to keep up to date with everything, all things super. And most importantly, watch it from beginning to end. And the same thing goes if you're on Instagram. Don't forget to like it, follow me if you're new, and share it on your story to all your super friends and your super family. Not these super friends, but any super friends that you may have. Let's get to it. So, the highly anticipated Incredibles 2 sees telecommunications guru Winston Deavor enlisting the help of Elastigirl to fight crime and make the public fall in love with superheroes once more. However, this leaves Mr. Incredible with one of his greatest challenges ever: staying home and taking care of his three rambunctious children. As Violet, Dasho Robber Parr, and Jack offer him a new set of headaches, a cybercriminal named Screenslaver launches his dastardly plan, hypnotizing the world through computer screens. Unarguably the most long-awaited Pixar sequel of them all, Incredibles 2 gives us everything that we have sorely been missing and wondering for 14 years. While it was common for most Pixar sequels to release more than 10 years, like how 2003 Finding Nemo, 2016 Finding Dory, 2001 Monsters Incorporated, and 2013 Monsters University, so it's a common thing, Incredibles 2 is the only one that was so eligible and needed for a sequel. However, there are some things that need to be mentioned. I was watching this film video essay by Brown Table, shout out to Brown Table at YouTube. He was discussing and comparing the sequels Incredibles 2 and Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet. Basically, he was saying he didn't like Incredibles 2, but he loved Ralph Breaks the Internet. I agree and understand some of his points about the film. I'm not throwing his video under the bus because he really made a lot of great points about how some things repeat itself and how it refuses to build its own world to explore the possibilities. Instead, it has a similar story structure that mirrors, but also, as he says, does a 180 from what makes the first movie so iconic. But his opinions belong to him. Here's what I say about Incredibles 2. I say that Incredibles 2 is not better than the Incredibles, but it is just as good. Sure, it might have made some of the same moves that the first one has, like the opening act featuring a villain that escapes that they never catch. Remember that? In the first movie, they was trying to catch Mr. Incredible was trying to catch Bon Voyage, and then he escaped. The same thing happens with the Underminer. Obviously, we will see the Underminer and a potential Incredibles 3. Incredibles 3 must happen. Or how one of the lead superheroes has to leave to fight crime while the other stays and watches the kids. The movie has a few things that I wish were still there, but nevertheless still delivered as an awesome sequel to an even more awesome original movie. The characters. Now, Brad Bird, I've mentioned his name before. Brad Bird is such an amazing director who knows how to make movies earn their mark as spectacles. He directed films like The Iron Giant. I did a review on that way back when. You can check that out. I can actually put it at the end of this video. Tomorrowland, Mission Impossible 4, Ghost Protocol. The wall climbing movie. The one where Ethan climbs. And of course, the Incredibles franchise. Incredible, catching the bad guys, pow, pow, pow. The Incredibles franchise will always have cool and compelling characters at its disposal, especially the super family themselves. We all loved and remember each member of the Incredibles family. Bob Parr, Mr. Incredible, Helen Parr, Elastigirl, Dash, Violet, and Jack, and then Frozone. Even though he's not a member of the Incredibles, he's still a close ally. They each had a moment that belonged to them and brought their own relatability factors to the table. In the first movie, we would think that they would have much more to bring, right? And I just want to name each of the moments that they've had in the last movie. And if I don't mention them, then they had a moment here and they didn't have it in the movie, of course. Mr. Incredible, I loved his fights with the Omnidroid. Elastigirl, his break-in trying to save Bob, that was her moment, she shined. And then Dash, his 100-mile run, that's still my favorite scene in that whole movie. And then Violet, she didn't really do much with her power in the first movie because she didn't understand it well to tap its full potential. And then of course Jack's moment is in this one, but I'll talk about that later on. So to reiterate, Incredibles 2 has a similar story structure that mirrors but also shifts away from what makes the first movie so iconic, and one of those were the characters. Like how I said in the first my review, which reached past 100 already. Thank you for the support. But anyway, the characters, like I mentioned in the first movie, have some of the best dialogue you've ever heard in any animated picture, like "Where's my super suit?" or "Coincidence?" or "Nutcase." But the characters, they were great in this movie, but some of them, like Dash and Violet, took a step back. And Jack had a million steps forward to take with his superpowered mayhem that offered for some of the best moments in the movie. Not to mention that dynamite dynamic with Edna Mode. When he got into that house, when Jack was brought into Edna's house, you already knew the dynamic was meant to be. Elastigirl is the only character who gets more moments to shine, and that makes her even with Mr. Incredible and follows Pixar's most recent trope of having the deuteragonist take center stage in the sequel. That's the side character always taking center stage in the sequel. But Mr. Incredible's parenting dilemmas, like helping Dash with his algebra, hey, you could have asked me, maintaining Jack's out-of-control plethora of powers, and trying to help Violet get through her angst and adolescence with a bad day with Tony Ridinger. Anybody remember Tony Ridinger? Those are also relatable factors. And that's, like I said, that is one thing that just makes the Incredibles franchise so untouchable. Frozone gets a little more screen time here than he does in the first movie. He uses his powers more. The only thing missing in this movie is his wife in the flesh. Honey, you know, where do you think you going? Where you going ASAP? You better be back ASAP and leaving that suit. Now, the corporate operator of DevTech, Winston Deavor, is kind of a scene stealer too, with his enthusiastic love for all superheroes and his dedication to making them all legal again. Now, before this movie came out in 2018, which was a year that the superhero genre was starting to ramping up popularity, was already dominating, so the timing of the sequel felt fitting even though it was late. But anyway, I did not expect the Screenslaver to topple Syndrome's villainous performance. But the way that Pixar wrote this twist was so brilliant. I've mentioned, or at least I think I have mentioned, how some of the Disney movies at the time had a plot twist with who the villain is. But I feel that the difference between this twist and the other twists aside from that is that they give the audience clues. See, when you're watching some of the movies produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios, I'm talking about Tangled, Frozen, Wreck-It Ralph, Big Hero 6, they never tell us who the real villain is. They want the audience to guess. And we have guessed. I've even guessed. I've been one of those people. Like when I'm watching Frozen, I wasn't really looking for the villain. I was just enjoying that movie. But then it was later revealed that Hans was the villain, right? Now, watching Big Hero 6, you could kind of guess that the man in the kabuki mask might have been Alex Cray. But nope, it was Professor Callahan. But anyway, we're not talking about Big Hero 6. My point is, The Incredibles 2, we are given vague but self-explanatory hints as to who the villain is. Now, enter Evelyn Deavor. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce y'all to the first character in the Disney animated feature to openly swear. Come on, I know I wasn't the only one that heard her swear. I wasn't the only one that heard her say hell and damn. She said damn twice. That's not even common for most Disney movies. They don't even try to sneak that in there. So I just wanted to let y'all know about that in case I'm the only person that's heard her say that. But the clues are everywhere, from the timing of her entering a room to having her sitting in the dark spots of that same room. Like when the heroes first enter DevTech, when the big three, Frozone, Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl first entered DevTech, they was in the meeting, and where was Evelyn sitting? In the dark. And she manufactures the tech, so it was pretty clear that she was the genius behind the genius, as she verbally stated, which was also the biggest hint. Now, at first, Screenslaver was written to be a very dangerous and terrifying villain with an electronic voice and a robotic appearance, but we later see her as someone who doesn't even trust superheroes. Now, I didn't like this villain better than Syndrome, because Syndrome is always going to be the best Pixar villain in my opinion, because he's the only villain that's truly evil, and he has a great purpose behind everything he does, behind what led him down this path. But like, see, Syndrome was driven by personal resentment towards Mr. Incredible. And therefore, since he had personal resentment for Mr. Incredible, he had personal resentment for all superheroes. He wanted to kill and end all superheroes as we know it. But see, Evelyn Deavor, the supers didn't really affect her. They kind of did, but they did it because her father died because they were depending on superheroes to save the day. So you could kind of see her point, because we had to wait on these folks to save us. Now we gotta give our lives up for these leather glove heroes to save us. What we gotta wait for them to do, to act, and not just act ourselves. No, we ain't waiting. We don't need the superheroes. We need to keep them illegal. She wants to keep them illegal, but Syndrome wanted to kill them all. Which more sounds more diabolical? So I figured that Pixar would at least do something like that, what Syndrome did. And also, I figured they would only shoehorn a few low-budget superheroes like Void, Brick, Electrix, whatever his name was, Acid Reflux, Crusher, all these off-brand superheroes, only so that this movie could have supporting characters. Incredibles 2 roughly flips the script of the characterization of the Incredibles from 2004. Rotten Tomatoes gives Incredibles 2 a 93% score. Long story short, Incredibles 2 is, again, just as good as The Incredibles from 2004 in every way, with the action, story, comedy, dialogue, and the characterization. Like, the action, story, and comedy is still there. Even after 14 years, it's still there, and it's irreplaceable, and it's untouched. But it is not better. Incredibles 2 is... Let me put it this way. Incredibles 2 is summer blockbuster gold. This movie came out in June of 2018, and the original Incredibles came out in Thanksgiving of 2004. I'm not saying that because they had different release dates that they're bad movies, but like the territory. But like, these individual movies in their own right are great. I'm not going to say one is better than the other. These are just two movies that are great in their own area. I'm not saying that one is better than two or two is better than one. They are just as good as each other. They are just as good with each other. They complement each other. Incredibles 2 is a summer blockbuster gold, while its predecessor is simply a spectacular piece of classic superhero cinema, and still will no doubt go down in history as one of the best Pixar movies and best superhero movies ever made. So I will give this movie 9.7 SOs out of 10. So that is my review on Incredibles 2 to all my super fans out there of Sterling on Cinemas. Y'all can let me know what y'all thought of this sequel in the comment section below. Did Incredibles 2 live up to the hype for you when it came out or not? You can tell me in the comments on either YouTube or Instagram, and I'll see y'all next time with my review on Way Back Wednesday. Bye.